Yeah.
Okay, so this week is similar to last week, except for it's going to be stuff that is current or something that we're actually currently enjoying now. Whatever kind of media that is. So we're not looking for throwback stuff. And of course, current is like can be whatever we want it to be. Really, it's our show. So, and I want to start by talking RRR, what like Tiny Facts would like me to do, because last week I talked about that film and got a giant response from people watching it and lots of comments and very helpful comments because I made quite a few mistakes in there that are kind of embarrassing. So I'd like to take a chance to correct them. First, I think my first few words were "it's a Hindu movie," which is wrong. Hindu's a religion, not a language. It was in Hindi, not Hindu. So I apologize for that. And I didn't say Bollywood in the video, but someone did. And so I guess it's called Indian cinema, or you can call it Tollywood to an extent. But overall, Bollywood is not a term people like in India. And it's a bit stereotypical. And so it's not something they like people to use to talk about their art. And I can totally respect that. Actually, the language it was filmed in was Telugu, which I hope I pronounced correctly, which is not Hindi, but it was translated into Hindi. And there's as much as 4 or 5 languages that film has been translated into now that I know of. So it's pretty popular. And RRR is number 7 in streaming in Canada. So
can I adjust the chat real quick? Because this is not my channel. Thank you for asking, Daniel. This is the lovely, stunning, and brave Zaxx channel.
Back to RRR. And so people had taken from what I said about the film and the over-the-top nature of Ray Stevenson's performance to say that I was sort of underselling the violence of the British Raj in India. And 100% I was not doing that. We're all pretty well aware with the British Empire, and they did a lot of bad stuff to a lot of people, and not downplaying it at all. I was talking about Ray Stevenson performance, who normally he's kind of comic relief or the quiet thug type, and he was very bombastic in this performance, I thought, and so that's what I meant by over the top villainy, not the British Raj, but the actor. So yeah, that's what that was about. And I think I've watched it twice, almost 3 times now, because I want to do a full review of it and I want to be fair to it. And I realized after watching it just once, I was so surprised by the action, and it was kind of a lot of waiting to see what would happen next in terms of stunts and explosions and cinematography. And so I watched it again and I got more of the story this time and more details. And so I have to watch it a 3rd time to be fair and give it a proper review. But one thing I noticed is the performances and the masculinity of the main characters, which is a nice change from what we have a lot of here in North America. And there was a scene I want to talk about, which is very early. It's not a spoiler really. And it's when our 2 main characters meet, and it's Raju, and there's an emergency. There's a kid in the water. He needs help, and he's up on the bridge and he needs help. And he waves to a crowd of people on the bank of the river, and the one guy who waves back is Bheem, our other main character, and they lock eyes and they all of a sudden know that they can count on each other, and they grow from there as friends. But I want to say that because as someone who's has some experience with working in emergencies, that is a thing that does happen. Like, you scan a crowd and you can pick out that one guy who is going to be solid, we call it, and is going to help. And right away, it's almost instinctual. And so that's a real moment that happened in that film, but it happens every day in real life. And you can scan a crowd, and the guy who meets your eyes or girl who meets your eyes is the one you can count on. And it's, I thought it captured that really well in that film. And you do trust that person from there on in. Really, you do. So that is, those are my corrections, I think, for now. Going to watch Bahubali 1 and 2 next, and KJF 1 and 2. Yeah, so those are my next up to watch after I'm done with this review. So that's it for my Indian cinema talk for today. Wow, I have a donation from Daniel, who tipped $40.20. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bravo.
That's amazing.
Bravo.
And he says, glad you are starting with RRR. Too much to say, but what a joy to see real men on screen again. I left work early, drove 5 hours. You know what? I heard you talk about that I think it was on Chris Gore's stream. I think you talked about that. 5 hours to St. Louis to see it in the theater. I wish I could see it in the theater. Got up at 4 a.m. and drove 5 hours this morning to be back at work. 100% worth the trip. And I would do that too, to see that in the theaters. Man, that's a cool trip and a great story. And thank you very much for that. That's an incredibly generous donation. Thank you, Daniel. And I think it was on, Flaccid Phoenix would know of all people if it happened on Chris Gore's stream.
What happened? Whether he was on there talking about the RRR thing? I think that sounds about right. Somebody had to go really far for it. But, I mean, people talk about RRR in those chats all the time. Chris Gore, every other second, if he gets a breath, he'll just start talking about RRR. Literally last stream, he was heading to go see RRR again. No joke.
Let me call out. We have Lyle Hammock. Hail to you, Lyle Hammock, Mrs. Hammock, and the little Hammock. We also have Stephen Ransom says, hello, ladies and gents. It's great to see all of you here. Of course, we have Punk Waddle, who rated my show, where Zaxx and Purple were on last night. We will have words later. Punk Waddle. We also have Alluri Santosh says, watch RRR. And as ever, the lovely Sherry is in the house. Great to see you guys. TRW 1974. Hail to you, brother. Great to see you. And that was a fantastic donation. Thanks a lot, Daniel.
Yeah, and for that, I think I know what he wants to see. So let's give him what he wants.
That's cool. That never gets old.
No.
I want this soundtrack. The music just in that 10-second clip, that music sounds so cool.
Yeah.
And it's all original music too, and it's written for the film. And it's pretty cool soundtrack. I would definitely give it a shot.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna give Daniel one more.
Good idea. Wow, PETA won't like that. PETA does not gonna like that.
What do you think that move is called?
Torch Punch?
Come on, light my fire.
Flaming Fist, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Torch Tony the Tiger. That's gotta be.
Go.
Had a lovely Sherry.
Yeah, I called her out.
All right, there she is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know people don't always take my advice, but they should. And if you listen to one thing I say, it's go see this movie or watch it on Netflix, please. It's got to be seen.
Yeah, Comics Crusader. That is in fact from RRR. That is the movie. Yeah,
it's all RRR all the time right now here.
And Aleja, Poly Latino Science, says the soundtrack is on Spotify and it is amazing.
Nice, thank you. I will look into that.
Okay.
I know. Poor
Do you
Kitty is
guys
right.
think that this film will be doing a lot better, not just by word of mouth, if there was if it was out in more theaters? Because it seems to be very spread out at the moment.
I think so. I mean, it made a lot of money internationally, but it seems like now it's picking up speed here in Steam online, but it's already out of the theaters, and so they brought it back for one day only. And I'm curious to know, Daniel, was it packed when you were there? Polly, you too? Was it a full theater? Maybe it's something that they would bring back again. And in Canada, it's not in the theater. So
the Comic Relief Crusader brings up a good point. I really didn't hear about this until Polly's stream, and then of course when we were talking about it the other night when we had your stream. And I certainly didn't see a trailer for it. I heard some great word of mouth, but it was like, and then I forgot about it. But now I absolutely want to see this when it's on streaming, or I might just buy it on DVD or Blu-ray, or the VHS, whatever,
That sounds about standard fare for the North American market. We don't get anything that's imported. Typically, it doesn't get much of a budget to try and get it out there. It doesn't show up in very many theaters, or it ends up being something like a Fathom event, something that's not common.
So one more time, if you're going to watch one movie on Netflix, watch RRR and then take it from there. It opens up a whole new world of stuff. So yeah, it's amazing.
Aleja, what do you think about this? I know it's not a biblical romance novel, but what do you think about this as far as entertainment?
I gotta hand it to. Okay, this is from India, correct? I'm not wrong.
Yes. Yep.
I gotta hand it to India. They seem to be stepping up the game. They're not shying away from just, we're gonna do our own thing, because these films seem to be uniquely theirs.
Yeah.
And it's not because it doesn't look entertaining. Again, I'm just not a huge movie person. I very rarely do I like go and see a movie. But yeah, no, I gotta hand it to them that they seem to be doing some cool stuff, and I applaud them just for the art alone.
All right, I'm gonna roll trailers some more.